This is a Kagi chart. It is a Kagi chart of the Russell 2000 micro contract, futures contract. This is one-tenth the size of the mini contract. A Kagi chart, it's a tick chart. It's running 1.1 tick. And I like to run Kagis on very small increments, because much like a sewing machine, it just stitches the price along. If you're not familiar with Kagi charts, in a nutshell, what it's doing is marking higher highs and lower lows. The higher highs up in here, the green, when it's making higher highs, it's called the shoulder. These are the shoulders. And as long as the shoulders are headed up, price is headed up. The moment it comes down and takes out a shoulder, it will turn red and establish what is called a waist, like a waistline. And when we're making lower waistlines, we are trending down. That is, in essence, the construction of a Kagi chart. Embedded in the Kagi chart, though, is the overall trend, not just what's going on right here. So I don't want to lead anyone to believe that you can trade this going from green to red, red to green. We can train the machine to do that, and that is a losing proposition. But what we can do is use some of our systems, namely a system that we call the SMC, for Stock Market Caddy Bow Tie. This is a proprietary strategy that runs pretty well. We didn't design it initially for the Kagi, but it turns out one of our members put it on and said, hey, we're getting some really nice results with this. What would it have done today? What did it do today? Let me show you. We're going to come to the strategy performance report. Now, this is the performance report of the Kagi running over the last couple of weeks, just a couple of weeks. Let's come here to the periodical, and you can see here on the 25th, that is today, since midnight, it had a total of 36 trades if you took them all, and it had a profit factor of 2.51. The machine, totally on its own, about $462.50. Now, could you have gotten in there and maybe managed it a little bit better? Maybe just made a couple $100 on a fraction of those trades? Entirely possible. I'm Bagging On at StockMarketCaddy.com. We're big believers in mechanical trading, getting the emotions out of the game, trying to get away from trading what you see, what you think you see, what you think is going to happen. We would much rather write systems that show us in a short-term backtest what the probabilities are. And we want to try to run these systems in the future, tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. Now, we may not run them fully automated, 24/7, like an oil derrick. We might run them for just a couple of hours. We might run them semi-automated, just as a means of alerting us to what is taking place, and we then can, using other tools like Swing Machine, decide what trade we may or may not want. But I don't know if you can see this or not, but if you sit back in your chair and look at this chart and stop looking, I'm not telling you to stop anything, but you want to avoid looking at just the red to green, do you see the trend? Did you see the trend coming down here? Let's go back in time. Let me just show you. Do you see? Check that out. Yep, beautiful little trend down. Beautiful little trend up. Now, if you don't see that or have a hard time seeing that, maybe your screen is too wide. Actually, that's shorter. That's easier to see. But if it's too wide, it's difficult to see the forest for the trees if you're zoomed in too close. But bottom line here is we have a strategy that is going to read and interpret the price action for us so that we then can act accordingly. If you like this approach and you want to talk to me about Kagi or some other chart or another approach, maybe you have an idea or a concept, maybe you're trying to implement it longhand, maybe you want to see if we can write that code for you, back test it, forward test it before you commit your time and capital, feel free to give me a shout. 813-758-8263. I'm Bagadon, stockmarketcaddy.com.